first, I would just really like to express my great appreciation for all of us here creating just this fabulous time. Thank you, everybody. I am also really appreciating where I've been and where I'm going. If I had
We're going to interrupt you just for a moment because that's a wonderful thing. You can always appreciate where you've been when you're in the vortex.
Yes.
Because all of it led to what you're experiencing now.
Yes, it definitely has. And as I shift into more of that appreciation, it's just so much easier. And I notice how what I'm intending has shifted. And if I had come to the seminar earlier this year in Denver, I probably would have said, tell me how I can win the lottery. Tell me how I can line up with winning the lottery. But now what I'm wanting is to really release any limiting beliefs that I'm holding that are standing between really knowing my well-being and really being lined up with that.
Let's talk about what releasing limiting beliefs is, because every thought that you've ever thought still exists. And so releasing, we use the word too, is one way of saying it, but a more accurate way of saying it is practicing the vibration that is in the vortex. It's practicing a higher vibration rather than releasing a lower vibration. Because when you reach for something that feels good and then you milk it, then next time you reach for it, it's easier to find it. Mm-hmm. And then when you milk it more, it raises further, and next time you reach for it, it is easier. So it really is about practicing a vibration until it is your norm. Because all of you, now we want to be clear about something. Everyone in this room has the ability to focus themselves right up the emotional scale. You do. You can focus right up the emotional scale. We could take anyone, no matter where they are, and with willingness to let them be where they are and not confront them and make them dig in and defend, but let it be all right wherever they are, because it's got to be all right where you are, because where you are is where you are. So you have the ability, no matter where you are, to focus yourself up the emotional scale. But it's a gradual thing, because if you focus yourself in 10 minutes into that higher, you haven't practiced it enough to maintain it, and you're going to end up back there practicing it, back there practicing it. That's why people go from fear to revenge, 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 rather than making their way further along. So what we're adding to our absolute knowing that anyone can focus their way up the emotional scale is, and by the way, there is an easier way of going about it should you happen to accidentally find yourself one fine day in the vortex by no deliberate work of your own. But you are aware that you are there. Stay there and milk it, because it is 100 times the work value.
Yes.
You see, we've been playing a game just to make a really strong point, and these are the money and the law of attraction affirmation cards. Most brilliant thing ever put together. We did it. He helped. So you find yourself wanting to win the lottery outside of the vortex, aware that there's not enough financial good stuff going on. And so someone says to you, well, have you seen Abraham's brilliant, best on the planet, most magnificent thing ever gathered together, money and the law of attraction cards? So you say, well, I'll try it. So you sit in a moment of shortage and struggle, and you begin reading anywhere. You could pick anything. I will praise success wherever I see it later. I want to harmonize with my desire. Sounds like a good idea to me. Money isn't everything, but good thing. I don't have any. The law of attraction responds to my vibration. Now this just makes me mad. The better it gets, the better it gets. Come on. The law of attraction responds to my vibration. Give me a break. I can follow the trail of good feeling thoughts. This deck sucks. Because you feel the way you feel. And when someone, even a deck of cards, is coming at you from a different place than where you are, there's a tendency to want to dig in to justify where you are. If not with words, with feeling. In other words, these are just abusive statements. It's like they're mocking me. They know where I am. Kick a girl when she's down. Good grief. So what we're encouraging is that instead you find yourself in the vortex and then you do your affirming from inside the vortex. From inside the vortex, every one of these rings true. And if you read through a deck from a cards like this, from a place of feeling good, practicing the feeling of them from inside the vortex will shore you up. It will make that vibration begin to be your own. It will begin to be the most natural vibration that you have, to the point where if someone says life is hard, you'll say, not mine. Someone will say the economy is really down, and you'll say, I haven't noticed. They'll say, well, then you're not looking in the right places, and you say, I know. I know. Because the world will reflect back to you where you've practiced your vibration. And so that's the big key that we are offering these days, is that do your affirming, do your work, do your work. You can do far less work if you catch yourself in the vortex when you do it than when you try to do the work to get in the vortex. And of course we recommend all of it. We've written endless books with endless processes, and there are more still coming. We are the quintessential spewers of processes to help you to line up with who you really are, you see. We just think that there's a much easier way of going about it than many have been finding.
So when you find yourself out of the vortex and it doesn't feel good,
take a nap.
Okay.
Take a walk. Do something to break the cycle. You want to stop thinking the thoughts you're thinking. That's the most important thing. So just walking outside, walking into a different room, making a conversation with a different person, anything that will change the segment to something that could potentially offer you something better.
Okay.
And after a while, you'll find things that really work for you. In other words, sometimes it's particular music. Sometimes it's particular. If you've had success at soaring with these affirmation cards, you can get so in sync with the vibrational tone of those cards that you could be out of the vortex and just read one of the cards and it would take you right back in. Because in time, these cards will reflect the in the vortexness nature of you, not the outside. And so it will just be off to be out of the vortex and doing something that you usually do when you're in the vortex. You see what we're getting at? Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of recognizing how you feel and knowing that you have the power to move how you feel. And what is how you feel? What are the characteristics of it, or what's the reason that you feel the way you feel? It's your vibrational relationship with your inner being who is in the vortex. That's all that it is. Every emotion that you feel is only about that relationship. So once you get that, then it's easy to figure out. You don't have to convince the world that they could feel better by thinking different thoughts. You don't have to change circumstances. Not one other person even has to agree with you. It's just you agreeing with you. And in time, you will show yourself that you can do that with ease. Esther's at the point where she can stumble across a thought that has the potential of being troubling, that isn't quite troubling yet, but she can feel herself tippy-toeing into it. Mm-hmm. And she can offer these words to herself, and does it several times in every day. It's not important that I think about that right now. And just by deciding I'm not going to think about that right now, I'm going to wait until I'm in the vortex before I think about anything that needs improving. And I'm going to think about things that are in the vortex anytime I want to feel good, which pretty much sums up all the time. You say. Mm-hmm. Something more or something specific?